Hijo de su puta madre. ¡Están de allá! La migra. ¡Córrele, córrele! ¡Ay! ¡Córrele, córrele, córrele!
So it's clear that you can see what the heck is happening. These people are illegal, they're working illegally, and now ICE is looking for them. But guess now what's happening.
So this is what's left of our work car. We had it parked near the scene. Obviously, we got here right at the beginning before we knew it was going to escalate to the situation that it got to. This is a brand new news truck that we just got. Looks like the tires were slashed. They busted into the windows. I'll see. Our personal bags were in the car. They stole all the stuff that was inside.
But if you just squint, it could easily be the BLM protesters or the Free Palestine protesters or the Resist Doge protesters or the Resist ICE, in this case, protesters. It is this dirtbag coalition of leftist, violent so-called protests that has been a huge problem in this country for years, and they are escalating.
Yeah, Conch, you don't see Democrats coming out with any sort of outrage over the destruction here. Their outrage is the opposite. It's over the ICE officials who were out there.
Let me give you 5 names where we're not hearing a lot from right now, except to attack these ICE officials, which is leading to attacks like this. Karen Bass, Los Angeles mayor; Gavin Newsom, California governor; Adam Schiff, who's awfully active on X and social media condemning, to Guy's point, Donald Trump. Not hearing anything from him. Eric Swalwell as well. You can't get away from this guy on social media attacking Trump. Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker. Where are you? This is war right now that we're seeing in terms of our federal agents being attacked and California officials doing nothing to stop it.
If you're angry, I can get it. You want to go against the government. I've been there. I have that energy. I just don't understand why it would destroy other people's stuff to get the attention.
Outrage that this has happened. Of course, what happened here, I think, was probably the worst. There were a number of locations where ICE raided today. And, you know, to me, when these things happen, it sows a sense of terror in the community. It's bad enough that it happened at this location, but the way this goes and spreads throughout the community, then people are not sure where they're safe.
I mean, you make it sound like you're a sanctuary city, and when ICE is coming, they're causing the disorder, when generally you don't want to work with ICE in sanctuary city.
Vantage point that we would not have without having helicopters there in the sky. Look at this, Austin.
Mexican flags?
Mexican flags. The line of law enforcement agents there during this face-off. It appears to be a face-off.
Yeah, and it's tough to tell sometime from a distance, but it looked to be the color of the sheriff's deputies.
Approximately 800 anti-ICE rioters have surrounded and breached a federal law enforcement building per ASA DHS. And LAPD is still refusing to respond as the situation continues to devolve. This is insane. I'm not surprised they're calling for National Guard. Like, what the heck? Since when can you just enter a government building and the cops don't react? But then you have a mayor like, oh, I care what's happening with the community. It's your community. That's why you're the mayor. And now the president has to do something about it. President bad, president bad.
ICE get the f*** out of LA so that order can be restored.
That's Representative Norma Torres. And ICE needs to go out so there is order. Is this the new normal? This is a political person that can just say that, and nobody is calling her out. Really? Now just imagine if the burning car was your car. Would you still be an ally? Because the fact that you're not, they might burn the next car if you don't have a mask to cover your face because you disagree with them. Just saying, it might happen because it's happening to ICE agents too. They get doxxed. They're not taking pictures of them throwing those stuff. We don't even know if they hit a person. Allegedly, maybe it didn't happen. But also, isn't it weird that I would not be surprised when they take that picture and write down below, mostly peaceful?
Demonstrations have been going on right outside the Federal Detention Center. Most of those demonstrators were very peaceful. They were chanting, they were shouting. People were driving by honking their horns, and again they were expressing their anger about the detention of so many immigrants at the Federal Center. Most of the evening the federal agents stayed inside the building, but at a certain point some of the demonstrators got very close to the property. In fact, some of them went onto the property, started tagging the building, started banging at fences, and shortly after all that happened, the agents started firing off tear gas, and then they came out.
I don't even need to add commentary. They say it themselves.
They're coming out. They're coming out. Watch out. Fuck you.
What sucks in that situation is, how can you surround a person and they might try to defend themselves? They need to shoot gas bombs so you can see them well because you might throw something at them. Isn't it possible that one day they might confuse something that you're throwing might be an issue?
The lead there is that cattle truck leading the pack as they make the turn onto Alameda Street. The strategy here is to basically encircle the detention facility, which is that building right there, where we understand there are actually some people inside of the building.
I'm just gonna assume they don't have a permit, but you do have a permit without a permit if you're doing for the right reason in a left-leaning city.
Unfolded earlier this morning at about 11 this morning. We were here for several hours on the other side, which is Town Avenue, is the store's front entrance. That is where advocates were there too, banging on doors, trying to figure out what was happening inside, including the family of loved ones who say that their fathers were inside the building and had worked here for several years. Take a listen.
I don't really know much. They just called us, telling us no that ICE was here, and I came, I saw him, but they haven't let me speak to him or nothing. I asked for a card, for their number, nothing. They haven't told me nothing.
He's an undocumented person, but let me tell you that he does more to the country, more taxpayer, more profit to the country. He has not committed a single crime compared to those felons that are out there still released by a bond. And this man, he has not committed a single thing, still has given a lot to the country, and is still targeted for some reason.
But I'm just assuming, if Sanctuary does not want to work with ICE, and ICE cannot arrest the people in prison, and ICE cannot enter the Sanctuary City to get the help that they need to arrest the people that might have done something bad, isn't it possible they would go somewhere where everybody is working with crime or not, and they're just going to arrest everybody that might have entered illegally? So in other words, through the empathy of Sanctuary City, more fathers are going to get arrested without a crime? It might be an issue. Just in, Deputy Director Dan Bongino calls for public to help identify a man throwing rocks at vehicles in Los Angeles where federal agents are conducting raids. We're not even sure he's hitting other cars. That is not helping. But who cares? If you come from that direction, you might get a rock. Like, they might try to dodge the rock and hit somebody else, maybe one of your own. But still, you would blame them. Isn't that isn't that, why would you have that logic?
Let me just tell you that when these things happen, we have no knowledge that they are going to happen. The federal government does not contact the mayor's office. The federal government does not contact Los Angeles Police Department. They just come in under siege and putting our communities in a situation like that. And so that is what we have to do to protect our community, is to be very closely connected. So, for example, on a community level, I know many of the organizations have a rapid response network. And frankly, that's how we found out about the raid, because community organizations reached out, contacted us, and told us that ICE was essentially chasing people through the parking lot at a Home Depot.
Translation, this is what I personally got. Maybe I'm an idiot. You don't have connection with the police, not even the rapid response, but you do get rapid response from the community that might have illegal people.
On threatening ICE officers. And here's the problem. You know, you got all these people now attacking ICE. You saw they're writing death to ICE agents. ICE agents been threatened, their families been threatened. And you got members of Congress. You got some judges out there that compare ICE to the KKK, ICE to the Nazis. You got city council people saying ICE are terrorists. They're feeding the hatred. And here's my concern. I've been doing this a long time. It's a matter of time before ICE takes a life or an ICE agent loses their life, because the rhetoric is at an all-time high and is being fed by people who should be more responsible. Elected officials especially, who keep firing up this rhetoric.
And I agree with him. They are doing their job, and it didn't get so much attention until the wrong president said them to do this. Because when Obama was in power, I don't think a lot of people put a mask on to do their job.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam, jam, durloketa, verdetta, welcome.